One day I was like, okay, I think EN types are like, the 4 EN types are like the most charming people ever, but they're all charming like super different flavors, like
Right.
so different. EN types, the most charming of types. When I think of charisma, I immediately think of ENFJ, whether I like their particular brand of charisma or not. So ENFJs are known for being super charismatic and like social leaders, like social influencers and social leaders. Usually if there's any sort of group activity or event, it's like started by an ENFJ. And they naturally organize people at parties and such situations or like social outings. I've heard many like ENFJ people complain that they're always the one to take the lead. And they wish that other people would step up and organize something.
Yeah, they're very inclusive. Like, I feel like the ENFJ I know probably the best is like our mutual friend. And so I just thinking of like times when like we've met together. I definitely noticed that like she was trying to kind of coordinate the conversation in a way so that like maybe topics were something that like all of us could talk about, or if I said something, like I think she really wanted to like make it known how she felt about something, so she would like in a nice way, like she would always like, I don't know, like high five me, or like, I don't know, just do something very like externally obvious to like show support and stuff like that, and just, yeah, and kind of try to like make us like this cohesive little group, whereas probably FI users think of people as like just like three individuals together bringing different things. But I think, yeah, I think they definitely are social leaders in that respect.
Oh yeah, so like my mom's an ENFJ and she's like so charismatic. Like she totally charmed her way up the ladder, right? Like, it was, I'm not gonna put this in the video. That was really bad. No. But charm is a skill. Like charm is a skill that I don't have. So like yeah, it definitely is really really important.
Yeah, that dominant FE just comes across as just like so warm that, yeah, I really enjoy talking to them. It just seems like they're seeking out like very genuine connection with you, and just like, you know, are very kind of active listeners and want just make you feel like, yeah, like they really care about you. And it's, yeah, I think that's really nice. And that definitely, I would say that's a huge part of charm.
So while I think ENFJs are really charming in the most traditional sense of being charming, like I personally think that ENTJs are like the most charming, and they do it in a I don't give a fuck way. So like pretty much the complete polar opposite of ENFJs, who always make you feel loved. Like they are the most warm and empathetic people, I guess. At least like they're the avatar of the most like empathetic and warm people. The ENTJs are just like, I don't give a fuck about anything, and then you're like, oh, they're so attractive anyway.
I think you might be projecting that for like other people's responses, but
Maybe.
ENFJs, since they both have that tertiary SE that kind of gives them that like a little bit of spontaneity and kind of maybe goofiness or something. But yeah, with ENFJs, it's always like in a very intentional way that comes with FE. And so with ENTJs, it's always in a very sort of like individualistic FI way. Yeah, so they're not so much trying to, they might be leaders in a sense just because of like the force of their personality, the natural force of their personality, but they're definitely, there isn't that intention of like trying to get people into a group. They're more so just like being themselves in front of everybody and just, I think, having fun with it.
Okay, I guess I'll like augment my comment because you're like, haha, she is projecting her INFP fantasies. Okay, it is true, that is true, but also, I guess No, I don't think that everyone thinks ENTJs are charming. What I do realize is that, okay, they end up being leaders not because they are naturally leaders, but because they have such high TE that if they need to get something done, they'll like pretty much force people to like get stuff done for them. And any sort of persuasion that they have is just for an end goal. So for this reason, some people think that ENTJs are charming, and some people think like they can't stand them, right? Like it's either like you love or you hate ENTJs. So I think maybe this is why I like ENTJs, because I guess I see, uh, even though they have like repressed FI or whatever, I see them as having integrity. It's almost like a weird TE integrity. It's like they want to get something done, they will get it done, and they don't care if they offend people. So like I find that bizarrely charming.
I think maybe from like an INTJ's perspective, the fact that they just don't overthink everything and they just sort of, yeah, they just do things. Even like in a social situation, they might just like say things that they're feeling more readily than an NI dump who might have to mull it over a lot. So I think in that way, they can definitely be charming.
Okay, so ENFPs and ENTPs. Oh, the comedic children of, of the MBTI. Okay, so both in EDOMs with like little to no SI, so I guess they're like the most random, creative, off the wall people. And they're both like kind of really lovable types, but I guess lovable in a totally different way. So I guess I'll start with like ENTPs. I think of them as like just natural comedians or like creative entertainers or like potential like innovative geniuses, you know, like
Yeah.
so they, I think, you know what, I think ENTPs always feel like outsiders, but they're really not. They usually meld really well in a social situation because of their tertiary FE, but because of, I guess, yeah, I think it's probably because of TI, because of like secondary TI, how they like maybe see things in such an individualistic way via TI, and then with their NE creativity, I think they feel like they're outsiders.
Yeah. Yeah, but I guess from an outside perspective, I definitely see ENTPs as people, maybe even like the most out of all MBTI, as people who can just talk to probably like anyone and seem completely like natural and confident with it. Because I think with their dominant NE, they just have this like endless supply of like ideas and things to converse about with like every different person. And then that FE kind of sensibility makes them, I think, maybe like a bit more refined and a bit more kind of aware of like social, I don't know, norms and stuff to kind of, yeah, to make them come off very pleasant and warm and just they seem like they're comfortable around people, but although their internal process might be completely different.
Okay, ENFPs, my sister sign, or sign, my sister type ENFPs. Okay, they are so cute. They're like usually like adorable and can be like super random. It can be like really frustrating if you don't want to deal with the randomness. But yeah, I don't know. They're kind of like, I guess they have the childlike charm in a sense, where they don't really care. They really don't care about being charming, and they're quite easily distracted. And they can be like quite creative and brilliant with their ideas. Um, and then unlike me, they usually act on their ideas. I guess like INFPs tend to be a bit more internally consistent because of the FI SI loop, and then you know, like we sometimes burst out into like random zany mode, maybe at a party or something. But ENFPs, it's just their constant state is like, let's act on these things. So I guess like maybe ENTPs don't even have that quite as much. Like ENFPs, I guess, are the most likely to like travel and do all sorts of like stereotypical exploratory stuff.
They definitely just go forward with their ideas with TE and actually do them. And probably because of NE being higher up than TE, they probably also change course maybe more frequently than like a TE Dom would. Like ENFPs have this bubbliness to them that ENTPs I don't know. Their FE kind of, I think, puts that down a little bit, even though I'm sure their NE Dom is kind of bubbly in its own way. But I think it's something about NE with FI that just, this sort of internal emotional expression that they just like, need to get out and express in the perfect way. Whereas I think FE is much more controlled kind of emotional expression, much more deliberate, right? So I
Yeah,
think
I
in
agree
that
with
sense,
that.
the ENFP is just bursting with like all these things that they just want to say.